All right, welcome to A Moment with Meg. I am here at the Capitol Theater, and I'm with Tom Hamilton.
Hi, Meg.
Hi, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
An absolute pleasure.
I'm
Thank
so
you for asking.
excited.
I appreciate the interest.
Yeah, this is going to be so much fun.
Of course.
You are on tour right now.
I am.
With lots of new music and an incredible band.
Yeah.
And you're
excited.
playing these iconic venues like Nectar's and Garcia's here at the Cap.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about this new music. I want to know about the process, how you wrote it, how it came to life.
Ghostlight ended at the end of last year or the beginning of last year, and I didn't want to jump into another relationship. I just kind of wanted to relax and I didn't want to make any decisions based on anything other than creativity, and what was the what's the muse telling me to do, So I just kind of, I took a couple months off, and then I have a writing partner, this guy Pete Tramo, who we've been friends forever. We've known each other our whole lives, and we met up in February of last year and started the process of just kicking stuff around and writing and with, or at least for a guy like me that I work so much in the live setting that switching over to the writing thing, it's like it takes a little while to get the gears moving, to break the rust off. So we wrote terrible songs for about 3 or 4 months, and but that's part of the thing too, right? Of being like, oh, okay, well that sounds derivative, that sounds like somebody else, that sounds like something we've already written, or whatever it is, like being self-criticizing, and then around June or so of last year, we got one, and we're like, oh yeah, there we go. Now we're starting to do something that isn't terrible and doesn't sound like generic whatever, And then we just kind of kept going down the path, and I started recording an album at the end of 20. What year is this? 4. Yeah. At the end of 23, and so the record's like halfway recorded, and I'm actually going to go after JRAD does Jazz Fest in May, and I go from there directly to a studio in Asheville, and I'm gonna do 2 weeks there and finish the record. So
that's so exciting.
It's very exciting. I'm very, very stoked about it, and and it's just cool. Like, the music all feels like a continuation. I don't feel like I'm like retreading any ground or anything. Like I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of it. It's mature songwriting, and yeah, that's cool. I'm excited for people to hear it.
We're excited to hear it,
and that's why I wanted to do like this little run of shows. It was like, okay, man, let's see what these songs do in front of people, and what can we do as a band with these tunes? Start kind of testing the seams on them, and make sure like the decisions we made in the studio hold up when we're like, when you have the energy of a crowd. It's like, okay, do the songs still mean the same thing that we want? Is the intention the same? And I feel like so far we're all pretty happy with how things are going, yeah.
Well, you're such a live musician that you must want to get them out in front of people and kind of hear the songs live.
Yeah, for sure. But I do love, I love the two things, I have this like weird duality in my life that, I grew up listening to the Dead and the Allman Brothers, but I also, the first music I really played with people, I was a percussionist in an orchestra, so like,
wow.
it was, so coming from like the classical thing as well as, and then going home and like, learning Eyes of the World from my dad and my brother, it's always been this kind of dual thing of like the song and the intention and the, it all does mean something. It's not just kind of like, hey, whatever, until it's time to be like, hey, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's when you can have those doors open, right?
Yeah.
When you have like a strong structure.
Absolutely. It felt like the natural progression, of like, okay, well, the Dead did what they did, and then Fish did what they did. And it's like, oh, well, what's the, how do you keep it going, and my version of that is okay, let's get more serious about the songwriting, and then even more serious about the improvising. It's like, if we can tighten up the songs, we can open them up. It's like that every action is equal and opposite reaction thing, you know.
I
So
love
it's like,
that.
yeah, so it's like, you know, we get into the songwriting and the craft of it like you're, you know, Radiohead or some really intense, like, you know, it's very intense type of situation. And then the swing back of the pendulum is just as far, where it comes to when you improvise with this stuff, it's like, whoa, holy shit. This
Yeah.
is all new information that you can really crack it open, you know? Or at least you hope you can.
Right, exactly.
That's the goal.
That's the goal, yeah. Well, I am a huge fan of your album, Lacuna,
Oh, thank you.
with Holly Bowling.
Yeah.
I
That was a
know
cool
it's
record.
just one jam session that you recorded.
Yeah.
I love the ambient influence, though.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if you listen to ambient music or if you are interested in that kind of music.
Well, I mean, what do you define as ambient music?
I don't really know.
I mean,
Like open exploratory music without like direct melody, right? Isn't
yeah,
that?
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, well, yes, for sure. I mean, you know, I like Steve Reich and Philip Glass. You know,
Yes.
I mean, I definitely like I did my time with both of those composers and stuff that they and the records. The Einstein on the Beach. Man, that thing blew my mind.
Ooh,
But
I've never heard it. I have to listen to that.
that's not Reich, the other guy I just said.
Philip Glass?
Yeah, that's Philip Glass. Very cool, dude. Very, very cool stuff. Yeah, so I definitely was into that, but I came into our scene in the early 2000s, late 90s, and I was a part of that wave of bands that was like bringing in a lot of electronic music, you
Yes.
know, into our thing, and you know, yeah, so you get really, you know, there's a whole, you know, sect of ambient music there, and you know, yeah, I listen to a lot of just anything that's weird, you know.
Yeah, exactly. The
Like,
weird stuff. That's
but
the
you know,
good
but it's
stuff.
not a thing where it's like, oh, you know, like this is now ambient music, and
Right,
it has to
right.
be this thing, like, you know, it's like a cubby at a preschool thing, you know, where everything has to fit where it has to go. It's
Yeah.
like, no, man, like, you know, you can improvise anything, you know, like, you know, you can jam, you know, One by Metallica as easily as you could, you know, jam fucking Althea or you know, Harry Hood, like, you know,
Absolutely.
it's just the willingness to do it, and you know, and to be like, hey, I'm going to take this thing and I'm just going to see everything I can do with it, you know, no matter what it is, you know, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Did
so.
that answer your question? I feel like
Absolutely.
I might have. Okay.
No, you
Might have made a
definitely
left
did.
there.
You definitely did. And that album is just, it's so exploratory, and listening to you two communicate on the album is just incredible. It's like a musical conversation, and it's so fun to listen to.
Well, I mean, that's you know, I think that's what improvising. That's what I think improvising when it's at its best. You know, when it's
Absolutely.
not just like when it's not a thing where it's like, okay, this person's going to talk and then this person's going to talk and then this, you know, it's a conversation. You know,
Yeah.
it's like when we're in high school and everybody's on acid and we're hanging out, just we're all just talking, and you know, you're just tossing the ball around and you know, listening, like intently listening to each other and loving what everybody's saying, and not just waiting to say what you want to say. You know? But
Yeah.
like to really, I'm going to take what you're saying and I'm going to internalize it, and then I'm going to respond. You know, it's a conversation. It's cool. You know,
It's so cool. It's beautiful. It's so fun to watch on stage, too.
Yeah. I like to think so. You
Yeah,
know?
absolutely.
And that's why, like with like JRAD, you know, especially the early years, like we never had a lot of like production or lights and stuff, because we're like, dude, we're the show. You know, right?
Absolutely.
People, you know, it's like people are coming to see us perform whatever trick it is that we're doing, you know, and to have that conversation, and you know, like we don't, you know, you don't want to take away from that, and with all this other stuff, you know, it's like, hey, let's just do what we do. You know?
Let's be the music. Let's have that out front.
Yeah, let's, you know, we're keeping the priorities straight here. Of like, hey, man, you know, the art is what we're here for. Everything else, all the window dressing is just window dressing. You know, not making that the focus of the show. You know, so, but yeah, but back to Lacuna. Yeah, man, it was just a very cool moment. You know, I had built a studio 2 weeks before COVID hit. I finished building this thing.
Wow. That's
Very
wild.
lucky, yeah, extremely lucky. And so, you know, and Holly and her husband Jeffrey were taking a road trip, going across the country to see in-laws and whatever, and it was like, hey, we can swing by. So all right, man, and I set the whole place up, and I was very stoked. So they were able to just come in, and we just sat down and just didn't say a word. We didn't talk at all about it. We just she sat down, I grabbed my guitar, and that happened. And then 45 minutes later, they left.
That is so incredible. It's like to have a relationship with someone that you can play with like that. It must be so special that you can just make something like that with.
Yeah. Well, it's the conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, would you like to have a conversation?
Exactly.
Yes. Well, then let's. And then and then here we are. It's I think it's a thing that people don't realize how just obvious it is. Of like, hey man, I think that's it's the reason why JRAD is good at what they do, and the reason why this band is good at what we do, because when we're not on stage, we're still in a room together talking. Like it's not a thing where we're all scattered or people don't talk to each other. Like there's just the lines of communication are open, and when you could do that off stage, you can do it on stage. And like it's like you listen to like the eras of Fish or the Dead or any of the bands, and you can hear when they're friends, and you can hear when they're not, and you can hear when they are again, and you can hear when they're not.
100%. And that was what was huge for me about seeing JRAD for the first time, because I saw the Grateful Dead at the very end.
Me too.
Really, yeah, like 93 and 95.
95, yeah.
Yeah, and so, things were not good. Things were not good.
It was a little dark.
A little dark.
A little dark.
And seeing JRAD for the first time in Prospect Park, I was so blown away to feel the Grateful Dead's music alive and electric and sexy, and I'd never heard it like that. And it just blew me away. So thank you for that, because that was so exciting for me and just such an awesome moment. And I've always wanted to tell you that. So that was a really cool moment. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was funny. My friend was with me, and we were like right up front. And I think you opened with Bertha or something, and she turned around and she was like, "This is the best I've felt in years." And we were like, yes, the Grateful Dead. JRAD's bringing us there.
Yeah, so man. Awesome. Well, I mean, when there's no baggage to anything, it's when it's like, hey, man. I mean, it's also why I think that band is. It's easy to keep that band fun. Nobody.
Yes, you can feel that.
Yeah, because it's not our music, and no one pretends that it is. And that makes it easier to always be playful with it, when you're not precious.
I never thought about it like that. There's no ownership for one person.
It's not our music.
Yeah.
We didn't write that shit, man. We didn't earn that music. We didn't tour the world and lose friends and marriages and all this shit to make this music. We just came in at the finish line. Yeah. And it was like, all right, we got it, guys.
We'll take it from here.
Yeah, we're a bunch of assholes that got lucky,
No, hardly.
I mean, it's a lot of luck, man. And it keeps it fun. It just keeps it fun. It's like, this doesn't have to be anything but a good time. You know, and I can't believe it's been 10 years.
That is wild.
It is. It's very crazy, man.
That was crazy. I got to go to your 10-year anniversary show at Brooklyn Bowl, which was just off the charts. God, the energy in that room was wild.
That was awesome. Wait, was that when Bob showed up?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, dude, that was. God, that was awesome. I mean, as soon as we came down onto the stage, it was like, oh man, this is.
I mean, people were
This
jazzed.
is going to be one.
When did you find out Bob was coming for that?
I don't know I don't think anybody really knew.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I think that was the one. Yeah, I think that was just a complete surprise. Pete likes to keep things awesome.
He sure
and
does.
Chad, he's good like that, man. He's good for a surprise, and he's good for making memories for people. We're lucky to have a guy like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As we sit here in the Capitol Theater, I feel super lucky, right?
Thank you, Pete. We appreciate that. But, man, and it's been 10 years, and it's like, holy shit, I can't believe it's been, You know, it's been a decade of that thing. I mean, you know, with fits and starts. There was COVID. There was, you know, I mean, our first show, we didn't play for a year after our first show. So, I mean, in that 10 years, we probably were active for 7, but still, it's weird. Yeah. It's
exciting.
Yeah.
And you're going on the road again soon.
Yeah.
With JRAD.
Yepers.
Yeah. So that's like so different from what you're doing now. Do you prepare in a different way, or does it doesn't?
It's not different at all.
Cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
But it's not. It's the same. Like the goal is the same thing, right?
Yeah.
The goal is to be for however many people are on stage, for everybody to be rowing in the same direction, and to all be willing to go wherever we go. You know, and that's it, man. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you're playing with or what you're playing. You know, like material. Like if that's what's going on, then you're going to have as much fun, you know, playing Lucky Star as you are gonna, you know, by Madonna, as you would by, you know, and playing anything. It's like, you know, it's just like, hey, man, we're all here to have a unique experience, you know, and that doesn't change, and you know, and it's with any variable, none of it matters. It's all the same intention, I think, or at least like that's just like, you know, that's my bullshit. That's what I do, you know. I mean, playing with these guys or with Billy and the Kids or with JRAD or anything, it's the same thing, you know. We're trying to do something that hasn't been done before. That's the goal, you know. Like, it's never to recreate even ourselves, you know. It's like
to make something new,
make a unique experience for everyone involved, you know. And whether that's just, you know, us at a rehearsal space or at a small club or in a big theater, you know, like you gotta, you can't take your foot off the gas, you know.
Absolutely. Keeps you exciting, keeps things alive, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? It's all a living document, you know. And we get to do this.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like and not a lot. It's not even just like not a lot of people have the opportunity. It's just there aren't a lot of people that can even do it.
No,
you know?
absolutely.
It's its own language and it's its own thing, and it's just like, I don't know. You just never take it for granted. You know, it's like, all right, man, we get to do this tonight. Let's go.
Well, I don't want to keep you too long, but I do want to tell you that I wore my hat today in homage of you and your hats.
Thank you.
And your great use of accessories.
Oh, man, I feel seen.
And I want to know if this is something you think about when you go on stage, or are you just kind of cool all the time?
Oh, it's not cool would not be the word. People bust my nuts about it more than would ever say that it's cool.
Have you seen the meme of your hat and your scarf and the shenanigans they get into?
Yeah, man.
They're hilarious.
I mean, dude, it's funny, man. It is. I love it. I do. I think, you know, I don't mind
when they
at
went down
all.
to Mexico.
Yeah, I've gotten some stuff down there right here. You know.
It's so funny. Well, we appreciate your use of accessories.
Well, thank you so much. You know, I mean, it's really, I get cold easily. It's really just, you know what I mean? Like, it's really not a thing other than, you know. Like,
it's always hiding something. Like, I'm just hiding gray hair. So it's like, see, we're all just, covering,
you know, it's like,
keeping warm.
Yeah, I get cold easily, and like, you know, it's like there's no hair up here, so I have to wear a hat. It gets cold, man. You know, and, that's really it. And then in the summer, people are like, hey, T-Ham, where's the scarf? I'm like, no, it's August. You know, I'm not Steven Tyler. I don't wear the scarves, but, you know, it's like I just.
It's not a look. It's functional.
Yeah, man.
Okay, well, you've heard it here. The hats and the scarves are functional.
I just like to wear shit, you know.
Yeah.
I also like, you know, this could be a bummer, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a bummer sometimes, man. You look in the mirror, it's like, oh, God damn it, I can't believe this is what I'm dealing with. So you try to cover it up with stuff, you know? It's
I love it.
You know?
Well, I'm so glad we got the backstory on all those things.
No, it's you heard it here first. I hate myself, and that's really what it comes down to. I'm just trying to cover it up as much as possible. Spare you people.
Oh my gosh, we cannot end on that note, but I just want to thank you so much for sitting down with me.
My absolute pleasure.
It's so exciting to get to talk to you about things I've always wanted to talk to you about, and so appreciate all the music that you bring and all the magic that you work to create, and that you keep the Grateful Dead's music alive for us. We're lucky.
I just hold up my end of the deal, So
awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time, and like I said, I appreciate you caring at all,
Absolutely. Well, I hope we can do it again.
Anytime.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back soon with another episode of A Moment with Meg.